Good day everybody, this is the trend continuation strategy, one of the most simplest strategies you'll ever find. This video is going to be divided into two parts. The first part is where I explain the strategy so that even those who are coming to this channel for the first time will understand it. And the second part is where we look at how it is applied on a daily basis. So if you already understand the strategy, you can start this video from 9 minutes. Thank you. Alright, as I always say, the strategy is very simple. We need information from the previous day, right? Say for instance, if we have something like this, then we know that we don't have much the following day. For instance, we only have the high somewhere around here, right? And we have the low around here. A day like this tells us nothing because no extreme has been broken. However, when we come the following day, if they give us something like this, still again, we have nothing to do here. Why? Because nothing was broken. You see, we have the low here and we have the high where it opens somewhere around here. You see, none of these extremes were broken. Why am I saying that? Because you can see the high is still intact and the low is definitely still intact. So if the next day they do something like this, then they come and close here. Now we have crucial information. For example, we have broken this area right here. So obviously this becomes a trend day. Remember, we are looking for trend continuations, and in order to get a trend continuation, we need what? We need to get a trend day. We need a trend that we will be able to follow, right? So if we get a day like that, obviously now we have the high somewhere around here, you see, and we have the low somewhere around here, and this day gave us a trend day. And just to explain something quite quick, if it's something to do with the USD, we will look at it during the New York session. If it's something to do with the euro or the pound, we will look at it during the London. And if it's something to do with the yen or Australian dollar, okay, we will look at it during Asia. And there's an exemption for things like gold. Gold can move anytime. Oil can also move during the London, or else it can move during the US session. All right, say for instance, this asset that we are looking at has something to do with the dollar. What are we looking for? Obviously, this is what we are looking for. We are looking for prices to do what? To drop, right? So that we can take it all the way up. First TP here, and then we can have other TPs where we hold till the close of the day, right? However, some days they are not gonna do that. Sometimes when we come during the New York session, we might get something like this. This opportunity is already gone. Remember, you're not gonna get every single opportunity out there. You're gonna miss a lot, and that's why it requires a lot of patience. If you come and something is gone, you don't have to beat yourself up, right? Because you were looking at it during the right time that it moves, okay? So if you find something like this, obviously there is nothing to do. What we have now is rather information for the following day. This becomes a TD, all right? For what? For the following day, right? So what we are actually looking for is this. We are actually looking for them to drop. So let's say they drop maybe during the Asian and the London session, then right into the New York session they build something like a pattern, right? So this is what we want to see. This is exactly what we want to see. Let's say for instance here they gave us a pattern like a triangle, right? Doesn't matter what pattern, remember, any pattern. And then let's say from there they pull back and they gave us an engulfing candle here. We want to take this opportunity all the way up, and mostly this opportunity is the quickest, right? So what we are definitely doing is nothing new. Remember, this is an uptrend, you see. We want to position ourselves somewhere here to take the opportunity. Of course, we're not going to take it right at the edge because we still need to wait and see something like a pattern, because even if they give you a pin here, it's not a sign that they are reversing. It could be a trap, right? So we always want to position ourselves somewhere here, and take this opportunity all the way up. Take this opportunity all the way up. Take this opportunity all the way up. So this drop, this pullback is just this in a nutshell. You see, it's just this. So this is pretty much basic information that everybody has, but the hardest thing is actually waiting and being patient. Some days they are not gonna give this, but our job is to hunt. Remember, even a lion when hunting, it doesn't know what it's gonna catch, right? But it must actually target the easiest target for itself, you see, the easiest prey for itself, you see. So that's what we are doing. All right, so again, if we get something like this, this is again a TD. Why? Because it broke this area here. So the following day, again, we have some crucial information. For instance, we have this low over here. We'll just draw it out every single day, right? And then we have the high here. So again, the thing we are looking for the next day is what? We are looking for prices to drop to key areas. Mostly here you can see, just for an example, you see they pull back to this area here, which happens to be the high of the previous day. You see, so still that can happen, or else you can see as they go up, they do something like this. Let me show you quite quick. When prices move, they do something like this. They go up, they pull back. They don't just move straight, no, they go up, they pull back, go up, pull back. So we are looking for these areas as well, because that's where they bounce. Most likely they're gonna bounce the following day. So when they pull back, we need to see them coming to one of these areas, and that's where we want to see them building a pattern. Say for instance, in this case around, they give us a pattern like a triangle. Remember, I gave you different kind of patterns on the playbook, and again, even if you do a simple Google search, you're gonna get all that information, right? So this is what we want to see. We want to see them pulling back, and of course we want to see them giving a big engulfing candle somewhere here. When they give that engulfing candle, we want to take the opportunity up, and as I say, this is the first TP, and we can still hold until the close. You see, this is what we want, right? And then again, we can still identify these areas. This one is gonna be the high, right? And this one is gonna be the low, right? So they are not always gonna keep going up. They are not always gonna keep going up, right? We already know that, mostly because markets have four paces, right? They go up, they trend up, then they consolidate, accumulate, and they can continue up or reverse, right? So sometimes they do this, they go up, they go up, they go up, they go up, but they are not gonna go up forever, right? At some point they are gonna start reversing, and that's when the trend changes to going downwards. So that's the information we have in our mind. So even when they go up, for us to know if they're gonna continue going up, we need to see them pulling back and then giving us a pattern for a continuation up. However, they are not gonna give that every single day. So how do we know if they are ready to reverse? That's a very important thing to look at, right? So let's say instead of pulling back, they decide to do something like this. They can break the high a little bit, break the high, and mostly they start consolidating between the close and the high, and eventually when the session starts, they pull back and they break to the downside. So one thing you're gonna see here is that they gave a beautiful pattern. You see, they just gave a beautiful pattern. Most of the days they're gonna do that. Why? Because people still want to be going up, you see. So if they do something like this, we want to see them doing what? Breaking out to the downside, then pulling back. And if they give us an engulfing candle here, we want to take it all the way down. And this move is super quick. Most of the time it can take out 2, 3, or 4 days of a move that went to the upside. So this is the most profitable move by far. You take it here. But how are we actually able to take advantage of this move? It's very easy. It's very easy. If they start holding a level, you see, when you look at this here, they are not going up, neither are they going down. Remember what we said. To get a continuation to the upside, we want them to come down first, then they can be preparing for an upward move explosively, right? And even the next day, this is what they do. But if they start holding this level like this, you need to know that now they are busy accumulating. Some of the days they can accumulate, like give something like an inside day and never go anywhere, just for the following day to retest the high and then collapse heavily. These are the fastest move by far. Fastest. They can go ×3 a move of one day. We all know about the ADR, average daily range, right? This one can go double or 3 times the average daily rate, you see. So moves like this are super quick, and they're gonna take out everybody who went up, because when we bought here, some people are long-term guys, right? So when they buy here, they'll keep their stops here, and again when they buy here, they'll keep their stops here, and the same thing happened here. When people were buying here, they'll keep their stops here. So usually this move has the capability of coming and taking every single person out. So this is what we look for. Please don't forget days when they do something like this. All right, well, as we can see on this asset, we can see that we got a trend day over here because it actually violated the low of the previous day. So this is a trend day, and what are we looking for? We are looking for a pullback, right? The pullback can happen on the day itself, or it can happen the following day. So here it actually happened on the day itself, and then early in Asia they gave a beautiful pattern and collapsed. So this was the opportunity, and as we said, you open 2 positions. One, you take your TP on the low of the previous day, and one you can hold till the close. So you can see, even if you held, you are still in profit. But usually I prefer that if they break, you just trail your stops, right? So that when they come back, they don't come for you, because they can still come back and close you. But this was a trend day. Let's go to a smaller time frame just to see the opportunity that was granted. When we come to a 5-minute chart, that's where we can see that yes, it gave a trend day, however it pulled back, and that's where they gave a beautiful pattern. Remember what we said we need a trend day, then we need a pullback back to key levels, right? So this one pulled back on the day itself. However, with this method, the opportunity is the following day. So what did they give us after that? They gave us something like a shoulder, a head here, and a shoulder, but again it's a rectangle. So this is a pattern within patterns. If you reach Barker's book, you get to understand what I mean by pattern within pattern. After that, what did they do? They came here and they broke out. This is a breakout, right? They retested and they collapsed with an engulfing candle. So for those who were in the screens, on the screens during Asia, this is the opportunity. Very straightforward, simple, and fast, as we can see. Let's look at how many points did this one give. It gave 100 points. Right, very easy. Pattern, breakout, pullback, retest, and a collapse with an huge engulfing candle. That's what we said we are looking for, by the way. And if we bring the 21 EMA, you can see that this came and retested the EMA. So this was a very great opportunity. Now let's go to the next one. This asset, again, when you look at it, it gave us a trend day. Why? Because it violated the low of the previous day. So it gave us a TD here, and the pullback started on the day itself. As we said, some days the pullback will start on the day itself, or it can start the following day. However, we need to know that there is a pullback, because if prices are trending downwards, we want to position ourselves here, not here, because that's where the pattern will actually be built, right? We need to position ourselves here. We need to position ourselves here. So if you look at this, they went down, they pulled back, they went down, they pulled back, they went down. So this is this. In other words, we want to position ourselves somewhere here. So the opportunity, if it's given with a trend day, we will take it in line with the move. Okay, it's just that unfortunately here we didn't get a trend day. So with that said, let's continue to a smaller time frame where we can actually see everything clearer. So now when we come to a 5-minute time frame again, we can see that, you see, they gave a trend day, they pull back on the day itself, right? So this can happen sometimes. Usually it happens with assets that move well during the Asia, and that's when they came to what? To yesterday's closing price. It is a key level again, right? And that's where they built a rectangle. After that, what did they do? They broke out. That's what we look for, right? This is part of our criteria. We need a breakout, and then we need a pullback. So they broke out, pullback, and they came back with a super big candle that broke out of the pattern. And that's when they literally did what? They literally collapsed heavily. If you look at this, that's when they collapsed heavily. This one to the low for the first TP, it went 76 points. So this is something very beautiful. Honestly, this is something very beautiful. So let's go to the next one. I took this one today. If you look at it, it actually gave us a trend day because it violated this low. So yesterday, yes, we got what? We got a TD, and yesterday it started by just going down. However, the most important thing is they ended up doing what? Pulling back, right? To where? To key areas. They came to yesterday's low, as you can see. All right, so let's go to a smaller time frame to see what did they give us, right? When we go to a 5-minute time frame, you will see this one was so beautiful and so simple. I took this one today. I will show you the example. I'll actually show you the trade. So when you look at it here, you will see that they came to what? They came to yesterday's low. So this is a key area, as we said. And look at what they gave us. They gave us a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. And that's when they collapsed with a super big candle. This is easy. These are easy executions. So with a head and shoulder, you don't wait for a retest. I've said this countless times, and even in the playbook, which is in the description, I gave all the chart patterns you'll ever need for this strategy on part 2, where I shared the strategy I use for indices, because for indices I use a complete different strategy called the explosive trend strategy for indices, right? So if you have the playbook, you know I have a number of strategies on that playbook, and I gave all the patterns on part 2 of that playbook. All right, and it's, by the way, a lifetime update. So when you look at it, I did explain countless times that when you get a head and shoulder, you don't have to wait for a retest, because head and shoulders by themselves are so so pure. So let's move on to the next one. You see, this is very simple. What I actually advised is take 2 executions. All right, you take 2 executions, one takes profit on the low and one you can hold till the close. But for this one, the low is no longer this one. Why? Because we have a low that they've given us today, so they are mostly gonna come back to this low. So if you took this one, obviously, you see, this is where you took your profits. It's not about the size of the move, it's about the quality of the opportunity, because you can take a bigger lot size with clean opportunities. So this is my A plus setup because the pattern is so clear. And when we look at the 21st EMA, you will see that the move was already inside head and shoulder, right? But the move was already inside this EMA. You see, I executed it here, right? So this is a very beautiful one. As you can all see, this is the one I told you that I took. It gave a trend day a day before, and then it pulled back and gave a shoulder, head, and a shoulder. And for head and shoulders, we have our neckline somewhere around here, and we don't wait for a retest, as I've already said, because head and shoulders are like that. So I executed here. I told you my advice is take 2 positions. For the first one, TP is here, because if it's gonna come back and close you, then you want to be paid for the first position, right? And already the second one is already traded. As you can see, this is the entry, these are now the stops, you see, because it has already gone down. So this one, I'm holding it towards the close. As you can all see, I'm holding it towards the close, and I trailed my stops to the recent pullback. You see, just as I always say, that when you take it 2 positions, 1 TP hit here, and then the other one is being held until the close. And now we have another pullback over here, so these stops can be trailed to here. In case, even if they come back, you have little profits from this one and you have full profits from this one. So it's not about the size of the opportunity, it's about the quality of the setup, because you can take a bigger lot size here, you see. When we look at this one, we go to 1 hour time frame to identify the trend day. So when you look at this one, I just want to explain this. You see, this candle is not, it's an inside candle on a daily time frame, right? So this is not for me a trend day, right? Yes, it did pull up and ended up coming down, but this is not a trend day. Why? Because the low is not violated over here. So that is why I actually preferred this one. Let me show you the one I just showed you. That's why I prefer this one, and it's still going down. I'm still in this move, right? But of course my first TP was hit here, so I'm just holding on now, you see. So this one was my A plus because it came to the key area, as you can see, and that's where they started building the pattern. So everything lined up well, and mostly because the previous day they broke the low of the previous day. So this makes it quite obvious, all right? So here's another one that I want us to look at. Actually, this one gave a trend day today, and I only chose to share this one because there is some crucial information here. I said for a trend day, we need at least 2 1 hour candles closing in breakout. So when you look here, we don't really have 2 1 hour candles closing in breakout. Why? Because if I go to an hourly time frame, you will see that we didn't have 2 1 hour candles closing in breakout. We only had one. You see, the next one was back inside. So this one is not a good one for me. However, if you look at it right now, you will realize that we do have what? A trend day. They violated this low, right? So we do have a TD. But this opportunity was well for yesterday, and I'll explain why in a minute, right? So today we have a TD. Tomorrow, if we get something like this, then we get a pattern here. They break out of the pattern, they do something like this. That's when I'm gonna take it all the way down. But let's look at why I'm saying this one was a beautiful opportunity for yesterday. We got a TD here, and I said, if you watch my recent videos and you pay close attention to what I said usually on Fridays when we get a TD, usually Fridays for currencies, they will give the retest on Friday. However, the opportunity will be fulfilled the following day. I say that countless times, so please pay attention to that, because on Fridays usually they trap, right? So they can pull back and then give the pattern and give the opportunity the following day. So this is something quite common, and if you forget about this, you miss the entire opportunity. That's why you can see we got the retest here. Back to key areas, of course, because it came to this low. You see this black dotted line, it's the low of this day. I said you can project these days through, right? So that's where they started building their beautiful pattern. Let me just erase this and show you something here. If you look at this, that's where they actually started building a very beautiful pattern, right? And we spoke about this, and that's where they broke out of it and they pulled back on a smaller time frame. You can see this candle is an hourly candle. They broke out, they pulled back, and that's when they actually collapsed. So even this does apply. This was a beautiful opportunity for yesterday, but yesterday itself did not give a trend day. So today I didn't even look at this because it was not part of my setup, right? But tomorrow I will look at it because now it qualifies very well. There's always opportunities if you do your analysis a night before. Right now I'm doing my analysis after this video for tomorrow, and this is gonna actually be part of my assets to look at. Yes, it can happen that when I come in the morning this move has already collapsed down. If that happens, then the opportunity is already gone. I don't care. But if they pull back and maybe start building a pattern here, they can also come to here, right? But this is gonna be the high. If they come here, I want them to do something like this. Let them pin, not really close or give us 2 1 hour candles that close above the high. All right, let them just come to stop hunt. This is just a stop hunt for everybody who sold on Friday, right? Because yes, even people who are using the TD strategy, they sold on Friday, right? Which was very good. All right, so they came and actually did what? They stop hunted them here. But I know most actually exited before the close, because you don't know what's going to happen during the weekend. There could be some news that actually affect markets, and markets will open with a huge gap, and that can actually get you. But if they do this and give me a pattern and break out of it, retest, give a super big candle, I'm gonna go in. So I really appreciate you guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe. And for all the strategies I personally use, I have a playbook that I put in the description. It has everything I use, the way I use it. So if you want it, you can get it there. It's a lifetime update, and I'm gonna upload the latest update now. Already it has a number of strategies on itself, so I'm gonna upload the latest updated version soon. Okay, thank you. I really appreciate you.